All right, pull up a chair. The city's sweating under a neon fever. And this file, well, it just landed on my desk. File number 47. We're talking about a cold case. A real cold one. Been on ice since the whole Roswell blowout back in '47. Now, this isn't your run-of-the-mill mystery. No, this is a deep dive into a cosmic crime, one that's been playing out right under our noses for decades.
And this quote? Man, it tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? The janitors of the impossible. We're talking about forces that operate just on the edge of our reality, and then the crew that comes in to clean up the mess. You see, it's a racket. And tonight, we're going to follow the evidence and see just how deep this thing goes.
All right, Act 1, the cosmic crime scene. Look, every good investigation starts at the scene of the crime, right? But this one's different. The scene isn't a place you can tape off. It's a moment in time, the exact second where one mystery ends and a whole new one kicks off.
And here we go. This is the heart of the puzzle. It's like a sinister handover. You've got one group, the intruder, finishing up its messy, invasive work, and then, just as the dust is settling, the other group shows up. They roll up in these black Cadillacs that just hum like a funeral procession. And get this, they don't investigate. They sanitize. They're there to erase everything, not just the physical evidence, but the memory itself.
Okay, Act 2, Anatomy of a Phantom. So before we can even begin to understand the cleanup crew, we got to profile the one who makes the mess in the first place. Let's open the file on our prime suspect, the entity they call the Gray.
You know, this really frames our suspect perfectly. The Gray, it isn't just some monster. It's like an evolution of horror. Think about it. The kind of fear you used to find in some old haunted manor, it's just migrated. This is a phantom for our modern technological age. It's traded those damp catacombs for the cold, sterile vacuum of space. It's the new ghost in the machine.
So here's the rap sheet. What are we looking at? A fetus-like frame, which, just screams unnatural birth. A cranium that's way oversized, like a vault packed with an intellect we can't even begin to tune into. But the eyes, man, it's always the eyes. They're these vast black orbs. It's like staring down a double-barreled shotgun loaded with the void. And they're not just for seeing. They're surveillance equipment. They peel you back layer by layer with this cold, clinical gaze. A look that says they've seen the beginning of time, and honestly, they weren't all that impressed.
And it all really boils down to this psychological gut punch. This isn't your cheap jump scare horror, no. This is a deep, kind of philosophical dread. The Gray is the perfect example of what psychologists call the uncanny, that creepy feeling when something is just human enough to be familiar, but so off, so distorted that it becomes hideously strange. It's like looking at your own reflection in a dark, twisted mirror.
Act 3, Janitors of the Impossible. Okay, so we've got the intruder's profile up on the board. Now the investigation shifts. We turn to the shadows that follow right behind them. Let's talk about the second party in this whole conspiracy, the Men in Black.
And let's be crystal clear. These are not your typical feds. They operate completely outside the law, but they carry this authority that feels absolute. They're always dressed in these suits, sharp and soulless as a razor blade. They're the gatekeepers, the erasers. Their whole job is to make sure the unexplained stays exactly that, unremembered, and more importantly, unproven.
And, of course, they have a standard operating procedure, and it is chillingly effective. Look, they don't threaten you with rubber hoses or anything like that. Their weapon is psychological pressure. They twist your words, they gaslight you, until you start doubting your own sanity. They'll turn you into an unreliable narrator of your own story before the ink on a police report can even dry. And then comes the final step. They sanitize the memory. They use these flashy little gadgets that seem to just blink the truth right out of your skull. All that's left is a splitting headache and this nagging feeling that something is very, very wrong.
Act 4, the sinister partnership. So we've got our players on the board, right? The Phantom and the Janitor. But here's the twist. This isn't a conflict. Oh no. This is where we draw the line that connects them both. And what we find is a truly sinister partnership.
And the case file really lays it all out in black and white. It's a cosmic racket, pure and simple. On one side you have the Gray. Their role, the intruder. Their whole MO is deeply personal. Biological harvesting, psychological trauma. Then you have the MIB. Their role, the eraser. Their job is systemic. Information suppression, psychological gaslighting on a massive scale.
See how it works? One creates the chaos, and the other one comes in to manage it.
Okay, Act 5, a hunger for humanity. So we know the who and the how, but what about the why? Every crime has a motive, right? It's time to peel back that final layer. What do they actually want from us?
To understand the motive, you have to look at the timeline. This is so crucial. This didn't just start yesterday. You go back to Roswell in 1947. That was the foundational myth. That was the moment our sense of a known, safe reality started to just fray at the edges. And ever since, these entities have become this permanent, haunting fixture in our collective unconscious, a cold case that just refuses to be closed.
And when you dig in, you find two very different but totally complementary motives. For the gray, it seems to be a biological imperative, a kind of parasitic yearning for the life, the vitality that they lack. It's a cold, clinical need to survive. The MIBs, on the other hand, their motive is purely political. It's all about maintaining order, controlling the narrative, and making damn sure this whole cosmic racket stays a secret. They are the ultimate gatekeepers of the status quo.
Which brings us to our final act. The file stays open. So, where does all this leave us? This is the point in any investigation where you expect the big reveal, right? The confession, the conviction. But with this case, well, this file doesn't get to close.
Because you're dealing with the detective's ultimate foil, a witness that won't talk and a suspect that can't be caught. The gray, it's the perfect, unsolvable mystery. It just is. And maybe that's the real twist in this whole case. The gray isn't just some creature from another planet. It's a mirror held up to us. It's a symbol of all our modern fears, isn't it? Our sense of alienation, our fear of becoming obsolete, of being replaced by something colder, and of course, that primal terror of what's really out there in the vast, silent dark.
So, for now, we have to close the file. But a question just hangs in the air. You can almost smell it, like ozone after a storm. It's the one thing that keeps this case from ever really going cold. In a universe this vast, what if that shadow you feel behind you has been there from the very start? The file stays open.